We're going to start on this lesson with completing something that was on our purple sheet. Down at the bottom, you have binomials. That's two terms. I want you to write a squared minus b squared. And then I want you to put equals a plus b times a minus b. You remember when we learned to multiply the sum and difference, we learned that it was the difference of squares. Now we're doing that backwards. So we're going to use that pattern to factor the next group of problems. The problems begin in section 5.4 on page 377. And I'm going to start with number 7, which is y squared minus 25. They are both perfect squares, and there is a minus in the middle. So I factor it as y plus 5 times y minus 5, the sum and difference of the two square roots. Now I'm going to move over to number 9, which is x squared minus 144. They are both perfect squares, and there's a minus in the middle. So I do the sum of the two square roots. The square root of 144 is 12, and the difference. So I have x plus 12 times x minus 12. All right, for the next problem, I observe they are both squares, but there's a plus sign. And the only way I can factor squares is if it's a minus sign. So this one is prime. That is, it can't be factored. All right. As we talked about in the beginning, we always have to consider the greatest common factor. Always, always, always. And for 36 and 16, the greatest common factor is 4. So I factor that out first. Now I look at what's left, and it's two terms. They're both perfect squares, and there's a minus. So I do the 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2, and the 4 that I factored out tags along. So it has to be factored in that way. All right, I'm looking at this one. They're both perfect squares. There's a minus in the middle. There's not any common factor. So the square root of 16r squared is 4r. And the square root of 25a squared is 5a. So I have 4r plus 5a and 4r minus 5a. Now I'm moving on to number 29. They're both perfect squares, but again, there's a plus in the middle. And because of that, it's prime. The only way we can factor squares is if it's a difference. That is, if this is a minus sign.